6:30 p.m., June 18th. This is the Borough Council meeting. Right now, we are going to start with the public hearing. That is an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Westchester, Chapter 54, titled Electrical Standards, Chapter 72, titled Mechanical Standards, and Chapter 82, titled Plumbing, by amending the licensing requirements for electrical contractors, mechanical contractors, and plumbing contractors performing work in the Borough of Westchester.
There we go. Is that on? Testing? Okay. Good evening. Because this amends 3 different chapters of your borough code, it is a public hearing process. We did have to advertise tonight's hearing in the Daily Local News. We did that on June 10th of 2025. I also sent a copy of the ordinance for public inspection to the Daily Local as well as the Law Library, and we did that on May 23rd. I think this was something that Mr. McCoy initiated. When the borough opted into the statewide building code, which was in 2004, I believe, you were able to grandfather in provisions that you already had in your electrical code, mechanical code, plumbing code. And so when you did that, you required that people in those trades had to be certified or had to be registered with the borough in order to perform that work within the borough: electrical work, mechanical work, plumbing work. So that part of the ordinances are not changing. The part that you're changing is that if they hadn't already been registered with the borough in those trades, they now have the opportunity that they have to show that they've passed an examination by the International Code Council. They're going to get a certification to be able to be in those trades, as opposed to the language today that says they have to have a license by that. The ICC does not issue a license for people in those trades. They issue certifications. So this is specifically changing Chapter 54, which is your electrical code, Chapter 72, which is your mechanical code, and Chapter 82, which are your plumbing code, which are all mandated by the statewide building code that you adopt the ICC versions of those codes. So this is just making that modification, recognizing that the International Code Council, which is the entity that publishes those codes, that if they have certifications in those codes, they're able to perform that work within the borough. So that's the purpose of this ordinance change.
And my understanding is we're not going to really start operating differently. It's just we realized when we were looking at the code that the way we worded it was incorrect based off of what you just said about certificates versus licenses. So, all right. Any comment? Any comments from those in attendance? And I guess we take this to vote. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the ordinance changes as presented.
Second.
All right, call the question, Sean?
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
And Ms. Shimoni?
Yes. All right, thank you. And so now we will call to order the Borough Council voting session of June 18th, 2025. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Brian Travis, why don't you lead us tonight? All right, announcements. The borough administrative offices will be closed on Thursday, June 19th in honor of Juneteenth. Also, vacancies on the Borough of Westchester Planning Commission and Transportation Advisory Committee. There's a link on our agenda where you can find more information to apply, but we're looking for a few good volunteers to help us out with those committees. With that, I will open it up to comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda.
Good evening. My name is Jim Wiley. I'm a borough resident, 401 West Lafayette Street. I'm also on the Transportation Advisory Committee. I just wanted to add my thanks to, I think you discussed a bit last night, on behalf of anyone that has participated in a peaceful demonstration in Westchester or anywhere. Thank you to the officers thank you to the police chief and thank you to the Borough Council for setting the tone that allowed a peaceful resolution and stopping and questioning the man with the weapon at the rally on Saturday. It is not possible to have a peaceful demonstration or even free speech at all if participants do not feel safe. Several people have expressed similar sentiments. We're not able to be here, but have a couple other people that would like to say something on this topic as well. Yes, this is as close to a catastrophe as I ever want to experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you, everybody. I'm Phil Degg, I'm the mayor of Downingtown, and I'm also I'm with Indivisible Chester County, and we were the organizers of Saturday's event. And I just want to echo everything that Jim said, and thank you. Your police are, as always, they're exemplary, just like in Downingtown. So I appreciate that, and I wanted to let you know that they're doing a great job, and we really appreciate you and your police department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Paula Klein with a cold. Apologies for the voice. I have a home in the borough at 220 West Union Street. I attended the rally with my daughter and her daughter of 3 and her son of 6, with her friend, with a child of 2 and a child of 6. And I have attended many, many demonstrations here in Westchester and felt completely safe. So I didn't hesitate when these young women asked me if their children could attend. And I'm very grateful that the prompt, low-key, highly efficient, and no dramatic hoopla happened right on a corner in downtown Westchester, which allowed no one to panic or permitted the rally to continue on. Those 2 moms can't come. They're doing dinner and bedtime. And they're already thinking about how can they thank the police. They've stayed up a couple nights crying over what might have happened. And they're talking about getting them some food or something they might like. But we also wonder if there isn't something more official that the Borough Council could consider to appreciate and honor the people who really saved a lot of lives, or at the least saved an incredibly, what could have been a very terrifying and traumatic for multi-generations. So my thanks to the borough, as others have said, for creating a police force that is responsive, understands de-escalation, is committed to equal justice for all, and anything that is in the protocol that might be done to honor them for this, I'd like to encourage you to think about that. Thank you.
May I have 1 second? Paula, thank you very much. The real heroes in this entire event was the citizens that are invisible. We have no idea, at least we don't, we have no idea who said something, saw something. It's amazing how that tagline worked. And to your point, our police are highly trained and they're professionals. But, we owe a gratitude to the invisible person, whoever that was, that saw something and said something. So, because that fellow was 80 feet away from disaster. And, it turned around very quickly and safely. But, whoever that person is, I wish they would somehow contact the Borough of Westchester. And we would like to say, personally say thank you to them. So if you ever hear who it could have been, we'd appreciate knowing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think that really speaks to the community we've created here, that people were paying attention and they were interested and they felt safe going to the official security people. And if you choose to do something, I don't know whether it's a proclamation or something, you certainly could include in the language for the anonymous, courageous or anonymous person who made that possible. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you for your I'm sorry. May I? Sorry. Thank you for your comments. And the mayor and I have had a discussion around how to recognize the work that was done on Saturday. So there'll be more to come, and we'll be sure to share that with the community so that everyone can come out and acknowledge our heroes.
And I even think if you do that publicly, it will have a positive effect on the next opportunity for a public voicing their witness.
Sure.
Because then we know, and everyone knows that this was the best kind of response we can have.
We're looking forward to recognizing those officers and the
Yeah.
anonymous person that Mr. Flynn referenced.
Perfect. Thank you. Right. Thanks so
Right.
much.
I'm going to cede to the mayor. Yeah, oftentimes when we want to thank the police, they have charities. Almost always they come back and say, you know, a way of appreciating the police is to donate to their charities. So just wanted to close that. What's that? I don't know. I don't think they are. They're usually in downstairs. There's usually a poster, and sometimes there's a collection box.
We'll make sure our public information officer, that they come up with some ideas. They may have something in mind. And I just wanted to say thank you to Mayor Degg for coming. Thank you.
I mean, they don't just want Amish market bagels, or they might be.
I mean, food is always the answer. Food and money.
Any other comments from those in attendance? Thank you guys all. Then comments from the council members and the mayor? Guess we'll start at my right and go around.
First. So one, I wanted to thank everyone. As I said, I also wanted to acknowledge the police work that was done on Saturday and how it kept all of us, our visitors and our residents safe. You know, you never think it's going to happen in your neighborhood or in your community. And I think we were all shocked, but very proud of the work that Chester County Sheriff, the FBI, the Westchester Police, everyone that helped to de-escalate that so that nothing happened. I'm also disappointed that Ramsey is not here. I wanted to acknowledge Borough employees do a phenomenal job, top to bottom. It doesn't really matter who you're talking about, but I do want to acknowledge Ramsey Reiner and the work that she has done, not only as the parking director, but as the interim not codes enforcement, but building and codes enforcement director. She's really stepped up to the plate. She replicated what she did in the parking department as far as streamlining processes, making it more efficient, making it easier for residents, being very transparent, so that whoever comes in to fill that position on a permanent basis will, you know, the table has been set for them, and all they have to do is hit go. So if you get a chance to acknowledge the work that Ramsey has done, please just say thank you. She has put in tireless hours and really made a difference in how we operate. And then last but not least, I participated or tried to participate remotely last month. And I could hear you, but you could not hear me. Apparently, you could hear me if you listened to the recording. But I did want to take a minute to acknowledge Lisa Kearns and her sound win in the primary in May, and acknowledge all the work that she did. I am happy to relinquish my post to Lisa Kearns. To fill the Ward 7, you will do a great job representing the residents of Ward 7 and the larger residents of Westchester Borough. You did the work despite the many obstacles that some of the leaders of the Westchester Dems put in front of you, and it proved out in the polls. So congratulations to you.
Bernie, you're up. Sweetest ward. Let's do it.
You ready? Greetings from the sweetest ward in the borough, the 6th Ward. No new sweet shops have opened this month. Sorry to tell you that, but we did visit Kilwins today, and it's amazing. You can't get out of there under over $100. It's, especially when you take grandkids. A few things are going to be happening real soon here in June. On Saturday, June 21st, the World Music Day will be in downtown, transforming the Gay Street area from 3:30 to 9 p.m. And there'll be performances all around town for live music. And the streets will be closed, obviously, so everybody can enjoy themselves, get a libation and sit against the wall, because it's going to be hot, and enjoy the sounds. If you really want to exercise, exercising yoga in the street, starting again on June 21st at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And it's between Walnut and Matlack. So it's right in front of the post office. So bring your own mat, because the macadam is a little hot and hard. So those are the two things that are going to be happening in June in the sweetest ward in the borough. Thank you.
All right, we'll start outside in. So Sheila, you're up.
I was just going to mention World Music Day and yoga in the streets. So thank you, Bernie, for giving all the specifics. Make sure that you driving around, all of that. I think we're going to have a good weekend. It's going to be warm. Do it.
All right, Brian with an I.
Thank you. And so again, I wanted to harp on the comments by my colleagues regarding our police, but I also want to set the record straight about some narratives that have been going around and were trying to be explained to other people. And the narrative that the Westchester Police Department failed to provide quote unquote timely communications is just wrong, and it's deliberate misinformation. Law enforcement, alongside the district attorney's office and the FBI, provided essential updates while ensuring the integrity of the ongoing investigation. They protected the community by working towards the suspect's arrest. Anyone pushing the idea that somehow, quote unquote, this undermines our institutions is actively weakening public trust in law enforcement and the very institutions that keep us safe. This is exactly why reckless reporting is dangerous. Sensationalist narratives driven by fake journalists chasing headlines do nothing but sow doubt, confusion, and distrust. Public trust is critical in investigations. Undermining it discourages people from coming forward with vital information, making law enforcement's job harder and putting communities at risk. The facts speak for themselves. The suspect was arrested. The investigation was successful. Law enforcement acted swiftly, decisively, and responsibly. We need accountability, not just for criminals, but for those spreading a false narrative. So that's my time and comments.
Thanks, Brian. Brian with the Y.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to continue the conversation about what happened. You know, personally, it hit me because my 16-year-old daughter had a meeting up at Market Street Grill with some friends of hers. And she wanted me to take her up there. She's 16. She knows the borough. We've lived here pretty much her whole life. But she was so nervous about the crowd there. And I don't know, her intuition was telling her something. And I almost told her no, but I took her up there because I wanted to go check it out anyway. So I walked her up there. Trust your intuition. See something, say something. I know it's a public service announcement. We've already said it once, but trust your intuition. I mean, the worst that can happen is the police can check it out and there's nothing, right? Best case scenario is something like how this played out. So there's a reason why see something, say something is so simple. It works. That's my comment.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. I have 3 comments. One, Chief Josh Lee is not here tonight, but I'm sure he would appreciate all the well wishes and the good words from each and every one of you. I just want to reiterate what he says. It takes good people to be good police officers. And that's why we've just gone through an entire rigorous selection process for our next two potential police officers. I thank the council here for seeing that and for seeing who they are and voting to consent. But they go through rigorous training once they go through the rigorous selection. And good people, you have to start with the foundation of good people to make good police officers. And that goes a long way, to quote Chief Josh Lee. Secondly, tomorrow is still a federal holiday, Juneteenth. So if you have off borough employees and anyone else, please join us for Juneteenth. Learn some history, learn some American history about Juneteenth. If you don't know, I think you should come and see a theatrical reenactment of Juneteenth tomorrow, 1 o'clock at the History Center. You can join us for just that, or you can join us for the town meeting and a delicious meal at 4:30. Come tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Chester County History Center, and learn about your history, our history, the history of Juneteenth. And third and last, mini golf on June 30th. It's sponsored by the Westchester Recreation, so come out if you're not doing anything, June 30th, 11 a.m. to 3, mini golf in the downtown borough, and I think it's on Gay Street. So you can learn something and you can still have fun. Thank you.
Thank you. I said some thoughts that I had last night about everything that happened over the weekend. I concur with those of who have also spoken to that, and just reiterate my gratitude as well for what the officers did and what the individuals did. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I also think about the Uber driver. I still think about that Uber driver, you know, that was another instance where we've got an unsung hero that alerted the police to a situation that seemed a little off. And so it's a reminder, it's like Brian said, if you see something, say something, you know, just keep doing that, keep doing that. But thank you to everyone who has done that. Also, you know, I was thinking about Juneteenth. I'm glad it's still a holiday. I'm glad we're still doing this. I'm glad that we still have a reminder of, you know, in all our flaws as a country, and, you know, you can look at them, we've got some work to do. But, you know, we have made progress. We made progress, and we'll continue to make progress. And I think, you know, there's always opportunity to be better. This reminds me to continue to try to be better and to do better by, you know, those that surround me that I impact. And so, you know, thank you for Juneteenth and all the things that it represents, and that we can still highlight that history that has occurred and how we can be a better community and in a better country. So thank you all. And with that, we'll move on to reports and presentations. First up is the Westchester Community Campus Committee Academic Year Report to Council, Dr. Julie Dietrich.
Good evening, Dr. Julie Dietrich, Executive Director for External Relations at Westchester University, and I'm reporting out on the Westchester Community Campus Committee on behalf of the team, as I call it. I first want to say that I miss my co-chair. I don't know how I'm going to, in Don Braceland, so I've always respected and admired his passionate conviction, thoughtful care, in serving and leading in community. I also want to apologize for you're not getting a fall report as we do. It just was an innocent miss. So like to be accountable. I will try to keep my comments tight though this evening for the academic year. So again, by way of achievements, projects in process, and then next steps. So a lot of good, again, by the team, and talking about good people, Mayor. I love, to pick up on that term, if I may, because that's really what this committee is all about, both from the borough and the university. So one of the things that we're continuing is the annual Welcome to the Borough event, and that went, again, increasingly well. We had a shuttle this time, so that really helped with accessibility and getting the students back and forth. And then also getting some feedback about things that went well and what we're going to do differently as I'll make a comment in terms of next steps. The WCU homecoming continues to have positive feedback, lower incidences. There are things, but better, and it continues on that trajectory. And that's also to include reports from Good Fellowship in terms of their numbers being low. So again, hopefully it's fair to say we're part of that process, but it takes a lot of individuals. And we did something new this year with the fall meet and greet out in the Southeast quadrant with our Greek Life and Office of Off-Campus and Commuter Services. Again, it was new, it was relatively small, but we're trying to, again, get the residents and students in particular to engage in valuable engagement. We also did a fall cleanup focusing on our Greek life students, and that was over 100 students. We had, I know Councilman Travis was there, and the mayor, and Councilwoman Simone, and so again, looking about how we can grow that, but I think it was successful to the extent that, again, it was new and it got cleaned up. And that was a focus area, as I'm sure you're aware. We also then followed that by the annual spring cleanup, where we had about 250 students. And again, trying to be intentional about how we have even the sign up to get the residents and the students paired up. We think we can do a better job. But again, it was a great opportunity to try to get that engagement going. Then we also continued with the community warehouse project, where when our students are moving out in the fall and spring, we did that both of those semesters. And in particular in the spring, we now have the students sign up where we keep the furniture inside. So it, one, helps the furniture in terms of its use by the community warehouse project, and then also in terms of not having it outside and in the streets and those types of things. So again, we try to figure out what are some better practices, and so we're trying to do that. In the housing fair with our off-campus and commuter services, we had Dave March, Sean Metrick, Ramsey Reiner all attend that. And then moving forward, we're going to have, I know there's interest to have the housing director, when that person is named, attend that. So again, I think those are enhancing ways that we work together. And then one of the other things that the committee had wanted in having a new president come into the university was to have the president come and speak directly to the committee members. And we were able to do that. And she was joined by our new vice president for student affairs, as well as our vice president for university advancement and external affairs. So we do try to meet what is requested. And I think it was important for the university members, quite honestly, to hear directly from the president, which doesn't always happen, but more specific borough representatives as well. And we did meet our goals by way of the community engagement in a number of events. Some things in process: we have a relatively new task force with a select cohort of the borough leadership meeting with myself and our VP for University Advancement and External Affairs. And the intent of that is we have the Borough University Township Officials Group, the BUTWAG. And one of the things that Mayor had pointed out was we have the broad meeting of those managers and those leadership teams, but oftentimes that broad conversation doesn't enable very specific action towards some of the priority areas and/or challenges specifically. So thank you, Mayor, again, for suggesting maybe there's another way of going about that by way of a problem solving and more action oriented approach. So we started that and we meet monthly, and we're also using that model and replicating it with West Goshen Township and East Bradford Township. Both of those managers have received that, in other words, have been on board, and we're moving forward to do the same thing using what we did with the borough as a model. The other is that we are moving forward with the ACT committee and following protocol, but there's been an effort to potentially change the name of the committee. So we're going to learn what we can or cannot do in that regard and follow the process. But one of the two main reasons why is in terms of the potential name change to Westchester Together, in terms of reflective of the effort in and of itself, and that there's already an existing communication vehicle that has been used in the past through a dormant and now no longer existing group. So we'd like to maybe leverage that for one, so as a communication vehicle. And the other is we're looking to, as will eventually come to you clearly, is some changes in membership and potential leadership to enhance the sustainability of that model and also accountability of the individuals that are part of that group. And specifically, you will see bringing in the deliberate inclusion more resident representation. So that's something that we're really trying to focus on, is how we can get more residents engaged and part of the process. Then we have university representation on the relatively new Transportation Advisory Committee. We're also working with the borough manager on a project through Center for Community Solutions to help get data around student rental properties, noise citations, do some overlays. So again, mutually beneficial data for both the borough and the university. And some next steps are, as I had mentioned, we got some feedback from last year's Welcome to the Borough event. Diners, some of which were not too happy in terms of the timing because it was a Friday evening around dinner time. So we received that, and we're looking to do more of a brunch, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, Saturday, August 23rd will be that event. And again, the commitment to learn how we can engage residents more. So any ideas, please let myself or perhaps Nicole know. And we're going to have a student parking focus group working specifically with Ramsey Reiner. And I'd like to really point out that I think one of the things that has been enhanced in this past academic year is continuing to grow in the awareness through the things that I just mentioned, whether it's the task force or how we're trying to learn from what goes well, but also how we can continue to do better. And, I think of Daryl Cook, one of the residents here, and but certainly there are others. And even with Don Braceland, dare I say that the initial interaction with the university was tough and challenging, but I knew when Don called me, that was a positive sign, because I rather have someone that can talk, that we can talk and work through things. And I think that this community shows that time and time again. So thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone have any questions for Julie as she runs off? Thank you. All right, and we're moving on to the citation of appreciation to former Rail Restoration Committee members.
Thank you. So I know everyone here recognizes Ms. Joanne Calton and Mr. Thomas R. Hickey. They've been here in front of us many times before. And they are, as everyone knows, they are fierce advocates. I would say that word, fierce advocates, for rail restoration and reestablishing rail in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And so tonight, we wanted just to honor them for their dedicated commitment. And if you don't mind, I'll just read a little bit from each of them. Is that okay? And it says, the first one, citation of appreciation. As mayor of Westchester, I hereby express my heartfelt appreciation to Ms. Joanne Kelton for her outstanding leadership and dedicated service to the borough of Westchester as chair of the committee to reestablish rail service to Westchester from 2014 to 2023. Through her unwavering commitment, vision, and tireless advocacy, Ms. Joanne has played a pivotal role in advancing the mission to restore rail service by garnering funding and support for key studies including the comprehensive 2018 PennDOT feasibility study and the 2021 ESI economic impact study. Her efforts have left a lasting impact on the borough and have inspired continued progress toward improved transportation and regional connectivity. And so we say thank you, Joanne Kelton, for your dedication to the Westchester community, for your time, your talent, and all of your efforts. And may I also present you a borough key to the city, to this big city and this beautiful borough of Westchester.
Thank you so much.
Oops. Oh, you want to start, right?
Staging. Do over. Thanks, Bill.
Look, I managed not to sticker once. Yes. And so, again, to Mr. Thomas R. Hickey, I am pleased to express my gratitude to you, sir, for his leadership and service to the Borough of Westchester as Vice Chair and Chair of the Committee to Reestablish Rail Service to Westchester from 2014 to 2024. During his tenure, Tom has brought an enormous amount of energy and railroad industry knowledge to the committee and was its most prolific contributor, I can vouch for that, of content to illustrate and explain the project to the public and key stakeholders in the region. His dedication, his commitment, and creativity have been critical in keeping the vision for restoring rail service alive and positioned for continued progress. So thank you, Thomas R. Hickey, for your dedication to the Westchester community. Thank you so much.
I'd just like to quickly thank the borough for your patience all these years. August 2014, we had our first meeting. That's when we first met, and we've been good friends ever since then.
That's
I
right.
think, along with Terry, your wife. And there was a lot of frustrating times where we thought we weren't going to be able to make any progress, and then we'd go in fits and starts, and council stayed with us. Sometimes we were afraid maybe we would be closed down because it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to make any progress, demonstrable progress there at times, but it was well worth it. And I'm so glad that it's continuing on in Jason's competent hands and making some progress even now. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Liz. She has been to as many meetings as I have.
It's been so many meetings.
Loaned, only a loan. 2024 was a momentous year for me. In that year, SEPTA's Wawa extension, which I initiated in 1988, opened. Patco's Franklin Square station in Philadelphia, which I initiated in 2002, opened. Amtrak's new station and third track in Quantico, Virginia, which I designed, opened which I designed in 2014, opened. And the Del Rail Station in Claymont, Delaware, which I built in 1990, actually closed, replaced with a new $8 million multimodal transportation center. When we were paving Claymont, there was this scraggly little sapling that was struggling to grow in the fence separating the station from I-495. I took pity on it and directed my resident engineer not to cut it down. Infuriated, he said he would pave right up to it and predicted it would be dead in 6 months. 35 years later, the sapling stands tall in the fence line of I-495, actually having outlasted the station that threatened to kill it. I offer this and the other stations as an example of the perseverance that it's needed to effect changes in public transportation. I want to thank Borough Council for their support over the past decade and encourage it to continue working through its committee to explore new methods and means to reestablish rail service to Westchester. Obviously, public transportation is not a field for those looking for immediate gratification. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we are now on to new business, which there is none. So we will move on to old business. Under discussion, the motion to approve letter of support to Safe Harbor of Chester County for, my agenda is different from that one.
That's because this is the new agenda setter, so.
Can you get me, wait, which is the new one? The one I have in my hand? Okay, okay, thank you. All right, so motion to approve letter of support to Safe Harbor of Chester County for their proposed building project. And so Sean, you were going to go back after last night to rework the letter based off of some feedback that you
Yeah, I
received.
reworked the letter this morning. We sent it to Ruby, right?
Yeah.
She's had a look at it
Yeah.
and we reattached it to the meeting. We basically removed specific references to design features in the building from the letter and made it more general in terms of the borough's support for the institution's mission and so forth, without being specific about details of the building, which is yet to be designed. So
Can I? So that was the one question I had, looking at the letter of support that's on the website as an attachment. It references a 3-story building, and I just wondered if that should be in there versus just a building, because they could change, right, the configuration of what they're going to do. That was the only call out that I had.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just make it as generic as possible. I mean, most of the other information was fine when I read it. I think you forwarded it to us in email and I took a look at it and yeah, it's just, we don't know. They have ideas of what they want to design. I don't know if they need specifics or just that any of those specifics. So I'd say, yeah, just say it as general.
council desire to edit to the letter.
Yeah, I'm fine with the change that Lisa mentioned.
I can tell you it's in the 3rd paragraph from the bottom. And it says, we strongly endorse Safe Harbor's vision for a thoughtful, sustainable expansion that aligns with the borough's values of equity, health, and smart growth. The proposed 3-story facility above the adjacent parking lot would expand housing capacity by 50% and create a multifunctional community space that serves and evolves the evolving needs of the residents. So it's the 3-story facility. And whether or not they're going to expand the housing capacity by 50%, I think remains to be seen. In the next 3 years, their plans could change 25 times.
Maybe say the proposal will create.
We worked that second sentence in that paragraph to remove references to specific things like 3-story facility, parking lot, capacity, 50%, and make that sentence more generalized.
Yeah, I think it could say the
Okay,
proposed
I can do that.
facility and the proposed facility to create a multifunctional community space that serves evolving needs of residents.
We proposed facility expansion to create a multifunctional community space. Yeah, maybe something like that, and just kind of say it that way. Does that work for you?
Yeah, since we're live editing, I have one too. It's the 4th paragraph that you can see here, the bottom where it starts with we. This is our endorsement statement. Just strike out the word strongly. It's either an endorsement or it's not. it doesn't need to be there.
Anyone else?
Did you like strongly?
I don't know.
No, I was just-
No, it doesn't
I
matter.
was gonna say, you go on play with this. I just call Aunt Carol and tell her.
That was the one thing that I saw.
Where's Aunt Carol when you need her? She'll
Don't have,
fix it.
we don't
Yeah,
have that kind of
yeah.
time.
All right, and any feedback from the residents in attendance? Okay, so does anyone want to, what do we do next to get it on? Do we make a motion for those changes, or how does?
Now to support sending this letter with the edits mentioned this evening.
All right, who wants to do that?
Make a motion to support the letter with the mentioned edits.
Second.
All right. Do we want to call to question?
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn? Ms. Vaccaro? Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
And Ms. Shimoni?
Yes. All right, on to old business B, approve the June 18th, 2025 consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the June 18th, 2025 consent agenda.
Second.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Vaccaro, second.
All right, Sean? Oh, public comment, sorry. Anybody? My bad. All right, now Sean.
Ms. Dorsey? Mr. Flynn?
Yeah.
Ms. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
And Ms. Shimoni?
Yes. Any other business? Seeing none, we will call this adjourned at 7:17 PM. Thank you.